Hello, guys. We are live. Drums rolling. Somebody needs to dance, dance, dance. All right. It's an incredible day. Welcome to tonight's session. We're excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us for the 18th day. The 18th now, 17th. I am particularly super excited for having you. Thank you. We go in a bit. So guys, welcome on board. Let me know that you are in. Send a message on the chat box, register your presence, and let's kick the ball rolling for tonight. This is Disruptive Parenting Summit, and this is the very first edition. Disruptive Parenting is an offshoot of the Disruptive Parenting book. I had set out to gift our world with a book, having been in the space for more than 2 decades. You know, I didn't start my practice. I didn't even know that I was practicing, right? But this particular summit, this is the premiere edition, and we're excited to have you in the building. Like I was saying last year, I set out to gifted our world with my book. This is the book, Disruptive Parenting. Innovative grooming tools that help your children become their best. That's the book. If you have anything to do with children, you need to read it. And I do not tell you that because it's my book. I'm telling you that because it will revolutionize your life forever. All right? So after that, like I have shared, if you have followed this program since we started more than 2 weeks ago, I have shared that I have sent out the manuscript of this book to my editor, and she didn't even finish reading it. She just started me up almost like the next day, and she said, this book must have a course. Sincerely, I wasn't thinking about setting up a course. I was just okay with writing the book. The book took me a lot of time and energy, so I was not even ready to go through another thing. But here we are. From that setting up the course, we have set up the Disruptive Parenting Academy, and we have people, we have alumni already from that academy. Disruptive Parenting Academy helps parents become consumer parents and help parenting coaches become highly paid parenting coaches. So if you are looking to practice, you're looking to take what you know and monetize it. You know, we have a lot of people who are working with children who do not even know that somebody can pay them for what they give for free. A lot of people, you have worked in the religious space for too long, and you're like, you're like, how do I begin to charge these people? Attending Disruptive Parenting Academy will help you to set the record straight. All right? The value that you bring is worthy of someone paying you for it. It's not a joke to be committed to grooming the next generation. What you are giving for free, somebody can pay you for it and pay you very well anyways. All right, someone can pay for it. So if you want to attend the academy, reach out to me after this period. Within the space of this conference, we have a discount that we are giving. Otherwise, at the end of the summit, you would have to pay in full, right? So that's how we began. We have had, because part of our assignment in the academy is to help parenting coaches. So I'm excited to announce that through this conference, or through this summit rather, we have hosted about three of our alumni members. Where they were and where they are now is a world of difference, right? And they can testify. So maybe you also need to go back and read and listen up so that you understand, you hear them share by themselves. So it's a place to be. It will help you to become a consummate parent. All right. Hence, we now said, okay, this year, because of all the things that are happening around our world, if it's not this child dead today, in fact, it looks like we have moved from only abusing children to creating environments that actually snuff out life from them. All right. So in recent times, we have had too many deaths, too many avoidable deaths. So we cannot afford to just keep quiet and let it slide. Let me repeat myself. I think that the soul of the next generation is in serious contention, and we must do something about it urgently. It's to that effect that we set out this 30 days Disruptive Parenting Summit. The idea is to disrupt the flow of negatives and be able to infuse the right values from the voices and impact of men and women who over the years have been in this. We have had even grandmothers speak, except that if you look at her, she doesn't look like a grandmother, right? But we have had people who have tested their tools. And because also I believe that there's no one single individual that has what it takes to groom a child, as in to have that one person that had everything that a child requires to become a wholesome child. So we have gathered 30 masterminds in these 30 days, such that you will learn from every one of them. The focus is that our children must become champions and our kids must become kings. In every child, there is a champion. In every kid, there is a king. Hence, God said in Genesis, for people of faith, God said in Genesis, come, let us make man in our own image. After man was made, you remember, he was made from dust. So God breathed the breath of life. At one experience I was having with God, I was like, God, why do you love me this much? And he took me to that scripture and he said, because I breathed myself into you, every time I express love towards you, it's not really about you. I am loving me. All right? So there is a God in every child that you must raise, that we must raise, that I must raise, that collaboratively we must raise into a wholesome child. Hence, we must do our bit to rescue the soul of the next generation. That's why the Disruptive Parenting Summit. No, it's more than the idea of another coach who just wants to gain traction. No, this is destiny. This is purpose. And I'm excited. Shout out to all the speakers, masterminds who have been here already. And for all the people who are yet to come, we're super excited and expectant of the value that you bring. We celebrate you. We honor you. Thank you for collaborating with us. Thank you for networking with us to ensure that the next generation becomes a nation whose builder and maker is God. All right. That said, I've been mentioning a couple of days ago that today we are going to roll out a product. So if you're not on our Telegram group, please join. I am going to set out that product today. Like I mentioned, I am going to give a ridiculous discount. You will see it in the banner. Please take advantage of it because Once the days are expired, you will be required to pay the exact amount of products we are taking, which is also discounted anyway. But you can cash in at this time and take advantage of it. The title of that course is Disruptive Fatherhood. Disruptive Fatherhood. Before I continue, happy International Boys Day to all our boys out there. You see, I didn't think, it didn't occur to me that today is International Boys Day when I was setting out for that program. But I don't want to call it incident. This is God incident, right? So to every boy out there, please, to every parent out there, help us take out time to love on your boy today. Buy him a gift, give him a hug, talk to him, do something that will just make him feel loved, celebrated, and appreciated. We love every one of you. We're excited that you are in our lives as parents, as sisters, as brothers, as caregivers. We're excited that God sent you our way. God bless you real good. Happy International Day for the Boy Child. Hence, we set out, we are going to be unveiling that product today, Disruptive Fatherhood. What is it about? Many times we have been, in fact, a lot of people had approached me to say, what are you guys doing about the boy child? Why are you always pumping the girl child with values? You do programs for her, you do this for her, you do empowerment for her. You finish grooming the girl child and you did not raise the boy child. So she will be forced to go and submit to a bill because because he was not also raised as a king so that he know how to treat women as queen. So we decided to set up and put together that course. Please make sure that you get your boys, your young men, your fathers, your husband to sign up. In fact, use it as your gift for them. You will be glad that you did. All right. Somebody asked me, what's the age range? See, if you have a teenager, I think you should register the teenager. Why do I think so? Because there is no too young a time to learn what is right, to learn the right values. For every female, sometimes within the first 18 months of their lives, we're already buying toys for them. We're already packaging them to be a mother. Who is teaching our men, our boys, to be a father? How do they know? And if they do not know, why do we expect too much from them when we didn't teach them? Please take advantage of this opportunity and make sure that you enroll your boys, your men, your young men, your young adults. If you are a teens coach, you are a youth leader, a youth pastor, or you lead in whatever capacity, please take advantage of it and make sure that they enroll. This way, we will empower our boys. They will even accept us that they are humans. All these things that we teach them, we say, be a man. When something happens, we tell him, be a man. Did he forget that he's a man? Anyway, welcome once again to Disruptive Parenting Summit. And I'm glad to have every one of us. Please like our video, share on your different pages, and make sure that you click the subscribe button. Click the subscribe button now. Don't wait until the program is over. Click the subscribe button and put on the notification bell such that every time we come on, you will be notified. It is on this platform, on this note, that I want to say a very big welcome to our guests for today. I'll say a few things about her and we'll take it on from there. All right. First of all, I wanted to know that she's my sister and I do appreciate her. Her name is Shoma Odocha. I hope I didn't murder that name. Forgive me if I did. She's a licensed mental health and addiction therapist. This caught my attention, right? Because a lot of people don't seem to know what's going on in the mind of our children, particularly in the days and times that we find ourselves. She's a practicing psychotherapist, an adolescence counselor. She's a trained teens coach. So she's not a passerby. All right. I want to also mention one of the things that I love about what she's doing. She helps people who are hurting to heal. She's the founder of Omo-Oikeh Therapy. It's a mental health and addiction plus counseling firm that specializes in helping people deal and overcome their mental health and addiction plus emotional challenges. She had her bachelor's degree, and like I said, she's a well-rounded coach. Today we'll have her, and we're excited to have her on the Disruptive Parenting, Summit. And today, maybe because of my background, I will spare you that until she's done. I'm particularly keen about helping children who are in grieving families. Helping children who are in grieving families. Sometimes when a parent passes and then leave their children, every one of us will just gather, cry that time, do what we have to do. Once burial is done, we go. In fact, even during that burial, nobody really pays close attention to what's happening to the children. So if he's a man, we're all thinking, how will he remarry? How about his wife? How would this happen or that happen? If you're looking for therapy, especially if he's a man who was very close to his wife. So, anyway, a lot of us won't even look for therapists, but at least we'll pay attention to them. If he's a woman, everybody's rounding up around her, telling her all kinds of stories and referring her to people who have survived it, and so she will survive. And then encouraging her that right now she has to take care of her children and all that. What do we actually do to help the children who are in grieving homes? I mean, we forgot that it's also their father or their mother or their uncle or aunt or someone they also have a relationship with. And so they are also traumatized. They are also grieving. They also will need help. So it's on this note that I welcome our very own coach, Omo, to the platform to share for today. Good to have you, sis. Welcome on board.
Good evening, Ma. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, considering your pedigree in the society, and you're having me to come to this summit. It's an honor, it's a privilege. I do not take it for light. I do not take it for granted. I sincerely appreciate and also celebrate and thank you for allowing yourself to be used by God to impact, especially the family system. Because if the devil can strike the family system, everything will be disorganized, because from the family system stems the communities, the societies, and the world at large. Thank you, Ma, and thank you for having me. I appreciate. So today I'll be talking about grief. Well, it happens that I am a grief and loss specialist, and I also took that course for a reason, because at some point I didn't quite understand what we do with grief. What do we do? Are we just sad that we lost someone and we cry, But after that, how do we move on? What's next? What do you do? How do you handle that, challenging or traumatic situation or event? And it made me take that course. And when I took that course, I said to myself that I would help everyone who, has lost a loved one and is grieving, to help them to heal, and to deal with that traumatic experience. I like to start by defining grief. What's grief? Grief is simply a natural reaction to the death of a loved one. That's what grief is. It's a natural reaction, to the death of a loved one. And we are narrowing this talk to children. So I will be focused on children. I may touch other places, but I would be solely focused on children. I just want to lay the background, the foundation to say that children approach having, I'm working with children, and as a child, and adolescent counselor, children approach and process grief differently than adults. Grieving helps children heal from their pain, So in trying to help, children in their grieving moments, just like you rightly pointed out, Ma, a lot of times when we lose a loved one, when we are always, focused on the adults. We go straight to the father or the mother. We show warmth, we show support, we encourage, and we don't even say anything to the children at all. I don't know the reasons why. Is it out of fear that they may not really understand the situation? Or is it, not allowing them, get involved in the grieving process? Is it that maybe it will help them, to heal quicker or something? So we just basically ignore them. And sometimes you can just look at them and just mutter a few words and just say, sorry, it will be all right. And that's all we say. And it's more challenging to them because adults can assess the situation and they fully understand what is going on. But the children are confused. They fully cannot grasp or understand, what losing a loved one is. So it's more challenging because they are in pain, they're in confusion, they're in fear. Sometimes they are in guilt. I've had some children say, I think I killed my mother, or I think I killed my father. So they're in guilt. And you can imagine a child who is still developing, having to handle all these emotions all at the same time. So it's very, very challenging for them. So in helping children to heal from the grieving process, I would like to point out a few things. Allow children to express in their own way and in their own time what grieving means to them. When it happens, we just sort of put on that superhero, mood, and we want to tell them, don't worry, everything is fine. Don't cry. Even though daddy is dead, you still go to Harvard. I still have your education covered up. There's still money. No, you're not going to suffer because daddy is dead. We just want to come up and make all those promises to them, forgetting that all those promises are not going to actually deal with how they feel. So we should allow them to, don't switch on that superhero mode. Oh, I want to make this all right for you, but allow them in their own words, to express what they feel. You can ask them to explain what they think happened, what they think about death, and just allow them speak. Some children will say, I think my dad has gone to heaven. And some children will say, I think he probably has traveled to Mars, because I've had a child say that. I think he's probably gone to Mars and will be back, later. So allow them to express, first of all, how they feel and what they think or what grief means to them. And then when they share with you, please do not, shut them up. Do not invalidate their feelings, show a lot of support, but also be open to share and be genuine and sincere in your explanation what that is. So it helps them to heal. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, daddy traveled. So you have told the child that daddy traveled. So she or he is expecting that, okay, daddy traveled, so he's going to be back. And you know how children are, very innocent, very optimistic. So they are waiting. And after a month, they're still waiting. Why is daddy not back? And after 2 months, but you said daddy traveled. So that is like you are making their healing process harder for them. So in sincere words, when they have shared their feelings, explain to them what that means, and I'll help you. Because I always tell people that in dealing with children, we should always try to be as honest, as sincere, as transparent and open as possible. So some people say it's too much for them to understand. How do they grasp the concept of death? So I'll just like to give instances on how you can. I explain to children and I tell them, when people die, their body stops working. They can't eat, they can't work, they can't talk, they can't see, they can't breathe, they can't do anything anymore. Their body just stops working and it will never start again. And so for them, they can understand it. So it's like they when you're speaking to them that way, they have, children think in visual. So they are having the picture of a body just lying and can't talk, can't stand, can't walk, can't speak, and then they'll furthermore, because children are very inquisitive, they'll furthermore ask you why. And you simply explain that is the way God has made it. That we come to the world, we live, and then we die. And we die, as we die, there is a destination. Because man is made up of your body, your spirit, and your soul. So when you die, there is somewhere you go to. And it's your choice where you want to go to. Heaven, hell. And that's even a very good place to speak to children about God, to speak to children about salvation, and tell them that's why it's important that you live right, that you're God's child, and that so that when you die, you can go to heaven or hell, and that it's not in our control to say who dies or who lives. It's God that says who dies or who lives. But what's in our control to choose where we're going to? And then you make them also understand that even though the body stops working, but the spirit is alive, and that there is a time where you will be reunited with your loved ones. And it depends on where they are. So if at a family, our desire and the goal of the family is to be in heaven, which we should all work towards so that we can all be in the same place when we die. But it's not now, because some people say daddy has gone to heaven. And so when you tell them, they just feel, okay, so they are gone and they're going to come back. So, but when you explain that when you die, you go and that's where you stay and you don't come. Another person dies, another person goes there. And that's where the person stays. Explaining to children this way will help them to understand the concept of death. And then it will help them to heal faster. The next thing I want to, let parents understand is do not pressure children to resume their normal activities, especially if they are not ready. Because I see parents who, after that, they say, okay, they need to go back to school because these kids need to be distracted. Something has to happen to distract them from this event or this situation, And then if for the grieving parents too, they feel, oh, it gives me time to just be alone and just, process my emotions. So I just move them to school, or even if it happens during the holidays, I look for something, school club, a club that is going on, after holiday lessons, they just move the children there. No, it will further, hurt them and would delay their healing process. So do not pressure children to resume their normal activities. Healing takes time. Give them time to heal. Give them time to grieve, And then the next thing is children's feeling, may emerge through their behaviors. They may not tell you, this is how I'm feeling, but there might be some behaviors that you will see. You can see sudden burst of anger or sudden burst of irritability, or, they are playing and the next thing they become isolated, they're withdrawn, they're just in their room, they don't want to talk to anyone, or they are crying, or there's some children that maybe they won't be able to sleep anymore because they are in fear. There's this thing with fear and death. So they're in fear, they can't sleep at night, they can't sleep, they're afraid. So they may not talk to you and say, this is how I'm feeling, but as an adult around them or a parent around them, you should look out for these symptoms. And when you see all these symptoms, please make them understand that it is normal and then offer to help. Make them understand that it's okay to feel angry. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay because those are the normal reactions to losing a loved one. It's okay to feel guilty. It's okay to just be angry, at God or your mother or the doctor. I hear kids saying, but the doctor's duty is to save my father. So the doctor didn't do their job. So they are angry at a lot of people. Just make them feel that it's normal, or let them understand that, explain the situations. The doctor tried their best. It's not within our control or our power to say who dies or who lives, but help offering solutions like that. And if they are in fear, let them be, with you. At this point, okay, everybody, we may have to sleep together if they are afraid or if they are anxious, if they are not eating well. It's a time to pay extra attention to pick up all these symptoms, because children may not communicate or fully express how they feel, but all of these symptoms can just come up and you'll notice that, something is wrong with them. So keep the lines of communication open. Children need to feel that it is okay to talk about death. I hear a lot of adults shut children up when they want to talk about death. Oh my, don't say that. Auntie, do you know my daddy? Shut up. Don't say that. So you're shutting the children up. And they need to, because when you're grieving, you need to vent. You need a place to let out. And it doesn't just apply only to adults. It applies to children too. They will come with all kinds of questions. Why did my dad die? What is cancer? What killed my father? And we sort of just shut them up. But they are seeking to know because they are seeking to understand. So it's our job to keep the lines of discussion open and sincere so that children can express feelings of anger, sadness, fear, and regrets. They should let the children know that they are available to listen to them anytime, showing love and care and warmth. Let the children just feel secure in expressing their emotions, and let's, as adults, keep, providing reassurance of continued love, and care. Let their long list of questions not begin to, irritate us. And then we just feel, oh, it's time to whisk these children away, auntie's house, uncle's house, but somewhere far away here, I need to deal, with me. Ignoring grieving children will make them suffer more from the sense of isolation than from the loss itself. So that is how, important it is to pay attention. At the same time, adults should respect a child's wishes. If they don't want to talk about it, we should. They are human beings, and there is mutual respect. I have two boys, and I always put that mutual respect in play. My children, yes, I'm their mother, but I can also say sorry, even though I'm their mother. So that's like I'm modeling mutual respect. And sometimes I want to talk to them about something, and they're quiet. They're not answering. They're not responding. Some parents become angry at that point. They start to hit, they start to scream and yell. You're further, making that child to isolate themselves from you. So if they don't want to talk about it at that time, I let it go, but I do not leave it. I come back, again at a better time when they're in a lighter mood, when they're in a happy mode, and then and I see that they are willing to engage in that discussion, because that is when I will get the best out of that discussion. A discussion where they will not have to speak out of fear or out of compulsion, or out of it's mommy, so I wouldn't get their true feelings at that point. So I'll go and then I'll come back. So we should be able to respect, children if they don't want to, express, their feelings, or show their feelings about the death. Some children don't even cry. They won't cry. Some just suddenly goes mute. They won't say a word. They're staring into space, and they won't say a word. But it's not a time for her to be discouraged. Let's give them time to process their emotions, and then let's revisit. Let's come back, to lend a helping hand. Okay. The next thing is be aware of what you say to your children that are grieving. Be aware of what you say. Children might surprise grief if they are told things like, don't cry. They will suppress the grief if you tell them, don't cry. Some people, I've seen people tell a young boy, don't cry, you need to be strong. You're the man now. Wow. He loses his father, and you carry that enormous responsibility in his grieving moment. And they look at a 7-year-old child and say, don't cry, be a man. You're the man now. You have to be strong for mommy. You have to be strong for that, for your siblings. You have to be strong for everybody now. And the child is trying to understand what's going on. The child is still trying to understand death and what it means and how to handle it. And then you come up and tell the child that you had taken up a responsibility now to become the head of this home. We say that to children, or they say to the girls, be a good girl. Mommy needs you to be strong now. Mommy needs you to be strong more than ever. So the children just suppress their grief because they are being told that they're supposed to be strong. For the adults that they are looking up to draw strength from. So that just, makes it harder and makes their grieving process, very, very hard. Grieving children should not be allowed or expected to take on adult role of either confidant or partner of the surviving parent. Please, we should understand it. These are children. Please let them be children. Another thing is share your own feelings with your children. It helps them. It will help them to heal, knowing that you are going through what they're going through. It will help them to heal. So not hiding some people say, don't cry, these children, you need to be strong for them. The kinds of things we say, you need to be strong for them, but share your own feelings with your children. Don't hide your feelings of sadness, Teach your children that the feelings of grieving a loved one, it's okay. There is no shame or loneliness associated with grief. There's no guilt associated with grief. It's the normal reaction that you should have when you are grieving the loss of a loved one. I think I've said it before, but I'll stress this again. Parents might be tempted to send their children away to a relative's house or friend's house, either to protect them from painful feelings or because it is difficult to care for them while grieving themselves. I know that grieving is a difficult place to be in, but children are most comforted by familiar surroundings and routines when they are grieving. Like they lose their father. They want to be in that surrounding. They want to be able to wake up and look at his picture hanging on the wall. They sometimes some of them go into their parents' room. They just want to lie down, and maybe there's still the scent or the fragrance from the perfume that the parents have used is still on the beddings. They may want to lie down, and just perceive it and just feel it. If it's their mom that makes breakfast, they may want to go into the kitchen, and just visualize her being. All those familiar surroundings helps a child to heal while grieving. So taking them away, just to protect them from grieving will not help. Them being in those familiar, surroundings will help them. Separation may increase their fears of abandonment. Now my father is dead. Just now that my father is dead, I'm out of the house. They've taken me here. They've taken, I'm with an aunt or an uncle or my cousins. And at that point, those people may not even be sensitive to the child's, feelings and emotions. So they, some aunties go there and say, what's that? What are you? Why are you still crying? It's been 2 weeks, you're still crying. Is it only you that have lost a parent before? Because they don't fully understand. So when you take those children out to those, places, it may increase their fears of abandonment, and it wouldn't help them to heal from it. Explain the situations to them, like the tips to help. Explain the situation to them. Let them know that there's going to be a burial. Let them know all the processes or activities involved in the burial. You may not be very detailed, but let them know, the major ones. Let them know that there's going to be a burial. We're going to have a church service. We're going to have, a ceremony. You're going to wear black. You're going to see your dad in the coffin or your mom in the coffin. You're going to have people come to sympathize with us. We're going to read your dad's biography. Let them just know that there's going to be a burial. Let them know the processes involved, and let them be involved in it too. Ask questions. What do you want? What do you think we should wear? Do you think we should do black? Do you think we should do white? What colors do you think we should wear? Just to lighten the mood. What's your daddy's color? It was the dad that they lost, or the more your mommy's color? How do you want the ceremony to go? How do you want it? Just so they have that sense of belonging, So you can just explain that, not like in detail, but just explain. Let them just know that, there's going to be, because some children don't know. And their daddy or their mommy dies 1 month later. In their minds, they don't know that there's going to be a ceremony. And, we say plan for grief triggers. Because on the burial day, they are going to be triggered again. So you need to plan ahead for the grief triggers. So if you don't tell them, and all of a sudden you tell them tomorrow dad will be buried or wearing black, they're going to be triggered if they don't already expect, if they don't already know. So you can explain, so after 2 weeks or a month, we're going to bury dad or mom. This is what we're going to do. So you put them in the know so they know. This is like planning ahead for the grief triggers. Now I want to go to practical things that you can do to help children to heal from grief. The first one is art therapy. Children are very, artistic, and children really like fun ways of doing things. So whenever I'm, counseling or working with children, there's always arts in it, because they love to color, they love to paint, they love to read poems, they love to dance, they love to sing. So I always infuse arts in working with children. That way you will get their attention easy and quicker, because you have to make it fun for them to be interested in doing it. So art therapy, it's good. Ask children to draw good memories of their lost loved ones. If it was their father, what are your best memories of that? They'll tell you, oh, when he took us to the movies, or when we went for picnic, or when we went swimming, or when we traveled for summer holidays. They'll tell you a lot of things when we travel for summer holidays. So yeah, use that. They can, draw good memories. Get like a journal, and in that journal, draw good memories of their loved ones. Draw things, that they were doing with their loved ones. That's very good. So art therapy, I would recommend art therapy, especially for the young kids. They will love to do that, so they keep that journal, and it kind of puts them in a place where they have good memories of their lost loved ones. So that art journal, it's something that children can keep for years. When I was a young child, I had a lot of diaries. I never threw them away. And as an adult, I started to read them, and it would interest you, the deep things I was writing as a child. I was surprised that I wrote those things down as a child. And they're like my most treasured possessions. So if children can, engage in that art therapy, draw those moments, or have a journal, a diary. For the younger ones who like to draw and paint, but the older ones, have a journal and write down good memories of your loved ones, good memories of your dead dad, or your dead mom, or your sibling, or just something that when you remember, it makes you feel good about the person that died. I've had some people, yes, by the time they were drawing these things, and by the time they were writing these things down, they were crying. But years later, they will start to look at them and they start to laugh. So they start to remember that person in a loving, fun way, And, I've had children discuss and say, let me see yours. Remember when that is, remember that, and they were not crying anymore, but they were remembering their loved ones. They were just having those good memories, and it helps in healing. The next one is photograph therapy. Let your children have an album. Just go get them an album and scan through your phones. This time we don't do hard copies anymore. So a lot of soft copies, we take pictures on our phone. So what I do is, when we're creating these journals, we just go with our phones and they print out pictures, funny pictures. Maybe your dad was carrying you when you were wearing nappy, you're just wearing diapers, all those kind of funny pictures that will really make you laugh. We print it and then we put them in all those albums, just good memories. We put them in all those albums, and then we come and we're looking at it and we're laughing and it's fun. And we're like, oh, do you remember all this and that? So ask the child to show photographs of their loved ones, describing events. Just develop a memory scrapbook. That's what we call it. A memory scrapbook. Just develop a memory scrapbook where you have wonderful pictures of all the wonderful times you've had with your lost loved one. The next thing to help is exercise. Exercise. Encourage a depressed child to engage in physical activity. Exercise comes in handy at this point. At this point, the child needs physical activity or active play. So exercise in whatever form, if it is jogging, if it's working, if it is especially for some, I've seen some children that I work with that they used to take a walk with their parents. So when I say exercise, they say, oh yes, there's this particular route that my dad jogs, and that's the route they want to go. And like, okay, so let's go. And then while we're jogging on that route, they sort of say, oh, one day we're going and dad did this and dad did that. And all of that is healing, you know. So if it's going to the gym, if it is swimming, a lot of children were going swimming with their parents. If it is swimming, if it is aerobics, whatever it is, but exercise, physical activity, or active play is important at this point. And then, yeah, play therapy. Play therapy is play, active play, you know, for the younger children, you know, they play a lot, you know. So at this point, just, you know, let them play with all the beautiful toys that their parents got them. The parents that, you know, that they lost got them. Let them play, you know, all those memories, you know, bringing them back helps them to heal. And lastly, the role of faith and religion. We cannot downplay the role of our faith. You know, faith is an important source of strength for adults, for children, for everybody during the grieving process. It's important that we draw strength from God's word, because he's the one that said he will never leave us nor forsake us. He will never leave any of us comfortless. So it is important that at this time we go to God, and then we draw our strength from God. Let's also remember to plan grief trigger. Grief triggers in the sense that, like on like if they lost their dad on their dad's birthday, they're going to be triggered. So you have to plan ahead for that. So you're going to have to do something that will make them remember their dad in a loving way on that day. Because if you just leave it like a normal day, they'll be triggered and they'll be hurt and they'll be, you know, they'll be moody, they'll be sad and all of that. So if what do we do for dad on his birthday, even in his absence, because his memory lives on? We'll find something to do. You can start up a foundation in their memory, in their honor. So you know that on that, you know, his birthday or his burial day, because the kids always remember the dates that their parents were buried. They will tell you. They'll call the date. If it was 18th of, they'll tell you 18th of October 20, they will, you know. So also plan ahead for the grief triggers on that day. What are we going to do? We're going to do something, you know, in honor, just to, you know, help us to remember the person in a loving way, and not to just sit down and cry, you know, and brood all through that day. Thank you so much, Ma.
Very rich session, I must say, very rich session. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for yielding, right? You know, we got what we required for this. I'm excited that you took it step by step. You know, your session was relatable, right? So people know what to apply where. All right. And then it's important to know that the children, they are humans also. In fact, I'm glad that you mentioned that we shouldn't move them out of the environment. Very critical. Because you move them out of the environment immediately, every time they come back, they'll be traumatized.
Yes.
Right? So it's important that they follow through. It's a journey.
Yes.
Life just happened. But step by step, they will journey and transition from that state of grief and get healed. Like I mentioned in my text, they will move from that state of being forced to take lemon to converting their lemon into lemonade,
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So I can identify with that. All right. Because I remember that as a child, my mom passed when I was about 10.
Okay.
And so after her burial, I moved out of that space. So, and then I stayed with a couple of other relatives. Then I had series of negative encounters, such that one day I decided by myself, and I said, if I'm going to die today, let me die. So I came home. I just prayed. Like it was only the Lord's Prayer that I knew how to do, so I prayed. And I asked God that I didn't want to wake up in the middle of the night. Guess what? God answered that prayer in my innocence.
Okay.
I remember that the next time I woke up, it wasn't 6 a.m. The day was already bright. As in bright enough not to be hot, not to feel, are you sure people have woken up? They have not woken up. The day was, and the sun was up. All right. And that one singular encounter gave me the energy. That was how I came back to our house all by myself. Do you understand? So it makes sense because I left after my mother's burial.
Yes.
It was traumatizing. In fact, I didn't used to stay there till 6:30. But that time, that day, I came back. I made that prayer and I went to bed. And I woke up the next morning. I didn't bother. And that was it. That was how I came out of that. So it is true that if you move that child out of that environment, every time that child, because he has not gone through that journey.
That journey, yes. Yes.
And he must go through the journey.
Yes.
We have to heal faster. We have to heal faster.
Yes.
All right. And then
yes,
thank you again. I am so
thank you, Ma.
I'm so blown away. I love it when people know what they are doing and are doing it very well. Thank you for the excellent delivery. God bless
Thank you, Ma.
Guys, it's another day done and dusted, and we're excited. Please help Coach Oma feel loved. Loved and deeply appreciated. Drop your comments on the chat room, send your questions. We will get back on that. Please, Coach, 1 minute. Could you please tell us where we can reach you?
Okay, so I am based in Port Harcourt. So I'm based in Port Harcourt and I have my counseling firm in Port Harcourt. But I have my contact number, which is 080-5035-9888. I'll take that again, 080-5035-9888. And then I have my IG, Omo's Therapy. It's just Omo's Therapy on Instagram, and then on Facebook, Omo-Oikeh.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Please follow Omo-Oikeh on Facebook and Omo's Therapy on Instagram. All right, for more of so that I can gain a lot more from her. I know we are this is the ITH, so where she actually is not a distance is not a problem. You can actually reach out and get the help that you require. All right, I love the fact that we connected on the mental health class. And yes. Wow, I'm blown away. Thank you for coming. Guys, once again, if you have not clicked the like button, please like the video, share, and share. All right, you never can tell who is grieving or who, sometimes it's not they are grieving right now. It's just that they have not healed from what happened to them 20 years ago.
Years ago, exactly.
10 years
yes.
ago. So they need to follow through, right? The last best time to do it was 20 years ago. The next best time to do it is here and now. All right. please go ahead and share the video, click the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell so that you can be reminded every time we come online. Thank you for joining the Disruptive Parenting Summit. God bless you really good. And yes, see you tomorrow. Bye.